10,000 march in Russian Far East in support of detained governor.
Here's a summary of the article.
Moscow, at least 10,000 people marched in the Russian far eastern city of Khabarovsk on Saturday, demanding the release of a popular regional governor detained last week on suspicion of murder, in a second week of protests. Fergal was taken to Moscow last week, where he is now in pre-trial detention after being charged with involvement in organizing the murder of multiple businessmen 15 years ago. Demonstrators packed a city thoroughfare on a sweltering Saturday afternoon, carrying posters in support of Fergal, some demanding his release, others calling for an open and transparent trial, with the column of marchers stretching into the horizon. The protests come barely 3 weeks after a landslide referendum victory for the Kremlin on amendments to the constitution, allowing Putin to remain in power for another 16 years. Dozens were arrested in Moscow last week after a few hundred protested against the amendments. Last Saturday, between 10,000 to 12,000 people took part in an unsanctioned march in Khabarovsk, the local branch of the Interior Ministry said in a statement. The city is a 7-hour flight east of the capital.
This post received a score of 8,900, with an upvote ratio of 98%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Not that I think this will change anything really, but isn't this a quite high number of protesters for being in Russia?
Yes, this is really a lot, especially for such a small city as Khabarovsk. And the protests have been going on for a week, which is also unusual for Russia. 10,000 people is the lowest estimate that there is. This data is provided by the mayor's office of Khabarovsk. The mayor of Khabarovsk is a member of Putin's United Russia Party. The arrested governor is a member of a rival party. Some media are talking about 15 to 30,000 protesters, some are talking about 50,000.
The number I'm reading in Russian in local media is 30–50,000. The image at the top of this story very clearly shows more than 10k protesters.
It's more than 10k ppl.
So their governor is being detained because he allegedly killed people 15 years ago. He's also a member of a rival party to Putin. It's not a rival party, it's a controlled, opposition party. And that guy was never supposed to win against Putin's approved candidate. Not very well controlled then, haha. The head, which is located in Moscow, is very well controlled. However, in the far-out regions it's merely a franchise like Subway, which allows some people with big bucks and questionable past to get a ticket into local politics with some benefits such as limited immunity from prosecution, new connections and future business prospects. This scheme, however, cannot function anymore because Russian economy has been steadily going down the drain for years.
Relevant cartoon. Looking at the photo, it's way more than 10k.
I'm impressed you can tell just by looking.
Counting large groups of people can be very accurate with some practice. There are records of spotters and scouts quickly tabulating the size of marching or camped armies of over 30,000 heads as far back as the Battle of Kardish, ca 1250 BC. Also, before modern measuring techniques, there were people trained to very accurately measure long distances with a perfectly even gait and an unerring counting techniques. Their accuracy was uncanny. TLDR, with practice, humans are very good at estimating surprisingly large quantities and distances using simple algebraic techniques.
Shit, can you give me a source for that? Not 'cause I question you, but I'm just curious.
Greater than I'm just curious. Hey, yeah, for sure, man, being curious about anything means your brain is open for business. Winking face. I'll find you some links on your questions, but the ancient world in general is going to really blow your mind. The things humans were doing thousands of years ago are pretty much the same stuff we're doing now, just with different ways of doing it. It's a great place if you're interested in early human stuff, the Sumerians, the Egyptians, how we learned to make fire, tools and build houses, how we came to be so close with dogs and where cows came from. When we look up at night and see the Big Dipper or Orion, who named that stuff? If you find those kinds of things interesting, you'll soon see there's more to learn than you could ever want.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.